Hello and welcome to another episode of my video diary, where you find me back in Oxfordshire on ChristChurch Lake. And what I've done this week is I've come up for maybe 6-7 nights, and the reason I'm doing that is rather than fish a session next week and one this week, I've put all my nights together just to try and save a little bit of fuel money. And it looks like I might need all those nights. I've already done 2 nights this session, one in the Bacon. I've now moved into a swim called the Lifebuoy, and I've still not been able to get onto the fish. The lake is rapidly winding down now as winter approaches. It's got really swimmy. It's just a couple of spots in the lake that are doing the odd fish now, and I've not been able to get on them. A little bit frustrating after last week, knowing that if I can put my approach in front of a few fish, I'll probably get a take, but it's just not happening at the moment. So it seems as good a time as any to start thinking about starting my winter campaign over on Willow Pool. I really like Willow. It's a nice little winter water, some nice fish in there. Normally get on there around about this time of year, start of November. So I think I'll do one more night tonight in the Lifebuoy, see how we get on tonight. But I think looks like might be moving over to Willow tomorrow. Well, here we go, first fish in the session, 28 pounds, 8 ounces, real lively common. Caught this one out the Lifebuoy, so it looks like Willow Pool's going to have to wait for another night. So I've really got to give this swim another go now. Keep topping up the spot. Caught this fish on the same tactics as last week. Little short reflex hook link, probably only 3 or 4 inches long, down from a little a 3 1/4 ounce inline lead, size 8 SSSP hook. And again, it was a plastic fantastic. Little bit of pink plastic corn, white maggot, fake maggot is the hair stop, doing the trick, just stuffed away in a little solid bag. So anyway, we've had one. Let's get this one back in the water, get recast, see if we can get another one out. Okay, spurred on by that 28 pound common, I fished another night in the Lifebuoy but didn't receive any more action. So after 4 nights on ChristChurch, and in accordance with the rules here at Lynch Hill, I've had to move over onto one of the other pits. So I've come over onto the 3rd and smallest pit at Lynch Hill, Willow Pool. Now at 7 to 8 acres, Willow might be the smallest pit, but it does contain the biggest amount of carp. There's loads of mid to upper doubles, a good head of 20s, and on top of that there's some nice 30s in here as well. Now with that head of fish in a small pit like this, it can lend itself well to winter fishing, and that's what I'm hoping anyway. I came round here yesterday, set up in a swim called the Plateau, and through the night I did hear quite a few fish boshing about in this area. The fish were pretty active. In fact, I'm a little surprised I didn't receive any action. But I got one more night tonight, so last night hopefully we can bag one of these fish and I can show you one of these lovely willow carp. Well, bit of a disastrous night last night. Willow's been chock of a weed all summer long. Now that the cold weather's come in, that weed's breaking up and there's big rafts of weed floating around the lake. It caused me really big problems last night. Rafts of weed coming through the swim, pulling my lines and pulling my rigs out of position all the time. Real shame. The fish were really active last night, boshing about all over the place. At one point I really had a hard job to sleep with the activity of the fish. But never mind, there's always next time, so get this barrel loaded up now, get my way home. Welcome back to my video diary, where I've stayed in Cornwall for this session, and I've come down to a small reservoir near Penzance called Boscean, one of a number of day ticket fisheries run by the South West Lakes Trust. Now Boscean is a coarse fishery, so it contains a head of silverfish such as bream, as well as a good head of carp, mostly mid doubles, but there's a good head of 20s as well as a good 30 pound common as well. So there's plenty for me to go at, and I'm hoping it's going to be a nice little winter water for me. I can get down to the lake pretty regular, and the fish in here are really old. They've been in here for ages, so hopefully we can get a few of these old warriors on the bank for you to have a look at. Well, here we go, my first bite out of Boscean, and it's the biggest fish in the lake. Lovely common, 37 pounds, 14 ounces. Cracking fish for this time of year. Absolutely made up with this. Caught it on a little snowman rig out near the lilies. Did a good job of trying to take out my other 2 rods, but got it in and I'm well made up. What a cracking looking common. What a fantastic fish to catch this time of year. Absolutely made up. I had it in the back of my mind that I'd like to see this one in the bottom of my net over the winter period, but really I'm just fishing for bites. So to get it on my first visit, well, I'm absolutely made up. Got all some nice pictures and everything done now, so just slip this fish back, let it give some another angler the same amount of pleasure it's just given me another day. Just let him get his breath. Nice kick, and away he goes. Well, not received any more action, but I can't say that I'm too bothered. I'm still absolutely buzzing after catching that cracking common. There's not too many 30-pound fish down here in Cornwall, so it's a proper result. I'm absolutely made up, and what a great way to get my winter campaign up and running. But there's still a long way to go, so I don't want to get too carried away. So going to be some harder times to come. But like I say, I'm trying to just target runs at the moment. In the summer I might be targeting specific fish or different waters, but now it's not the time for that. All I want is to be enjoying it and hopefully receive a bit of action. There's still plenty of fish to go out in here in Boscean, so I'm going to get down at the weekend. Hopefully I can catch another fish. If it would be in a £20 bracket, I'd be absolutely made up. So I'll catch up with you then. Well, just about to pack up, just about to reel the rods in, and one went off. Jammed me up in the lilies for a little while, but left it on a slack line. It swam itself out, and it fought really well. Turned out to be this little fella, probably one of the fish that have recently been stocked into Boscean. Real nice young looking fish, and let's hope that it can grow on and get as big as that one we had last night. Okay, got back down to Boscean yesterday, and although I didn't receive any action last night, I did hear a few fish boshing out, and I've seen a few fish this morning. So for this time of year, it's a massive morale boost to know that there's still some active carp in this lake. Now these fish never seem to be shown in the same areas, so what I decided to do is use one of my rods as a roaming rod, where I cast a single high attract hook bait to different areas in my swim for short periods of time, or any area where I see a fish show. Now rig wise for this roaming rod, I've decided to use a pop-up rig that I first used in part 1 of this video diary, and that's a Cortex hook link down to an SSSP hook. Now in part 1 I was using a 10mm pop-up, and to match that size of hook bait I used a size 8 hook. I'm now using a 15mm pop-up, so to match that size of bait I'm using a size 6 hook. Now what I've done to this pop-up is I've trimmed some pieces off the side, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is by removing some of the tougher outer skin of the pop-up, it massively improves the flavour leakage of the hook bait. But the other reason I've done that is I'm using a split shot there that's not quite heavy enough to counterbalance the buoyancy of the pop-up and the rig. So when I first test this rig in the water, the whole lot just sort of sits up like that. I've then trimmed some of the pieces off the side of the hook bait, tested it in the water again, and then I've kept doing that, and little by little I've eventually ended up with a rig that initially sits up like that, but then slowly sinks to the bottom to rest nicely on the bottom. The reason I'm doing that is the bottom of Boscean is very silty, so wherever I cast this out into my swim I can be pretty confident that my hook bait's going to come down nice and slow and sit above the silt. Now the other thing I'm doing to try and help with the silty bottom is I've changed from a lead clip system to a helicopter or rotary lead system, where my rig is now sitting above the lead, spins above the lead on the cast. The lead can then enter into the silty bottom, leaving my rig and my hook bait presented nicely across the top of the silt. So that's my roaming rig. Let's get it out there and see if we can get a winter bite. Well, just giving the rods a few more minutes now, but it looks like this session's going to end in a blank. But I can't complain. Boscean has been really kind to me this week, giving me that lovely big common. But I still want to catch some of these old mirrors that are in this lake, so they're going to have to wait for another day, where I'll catch up with you again for another episode of Kneebone's Diary.